came at 8 o'clock, and we're gonna record. Okay, so I'd like to welcome you. I'm Rachel Buckman. I am Sefaria Senior Education Associate, and with me today is Lauren Berman, and he is our Outreach and Engagement Associate. What we're going to be covering today, we're going to be introducing you to our new editor, which we're very, very excited about. We're going to be talking about how to create, format, and share sheets. This is not a general webinar about the Sefaria library. We're really only going to be discussing sheets, but we do have webinars coming up. We always give a Sefaria 101 webinar, and the next one is on May 15th at the same time as now. And then sort of the second part, which is a deep dive, and that's on June 12th. Lauren is going to put the links to the information and registration in the chat. I also want to point out that we have a source sheet to go with today's session. And on that source sheet, we also have links to upcoming webinars. We also have recordings from previous ones. So all of that is available to you. Lauren probably a few times is going to put things in the chat. And for people who are coming in later, he'll remind you. So we have a sheet for today. And we also, on that sheet, we have links to our next webinars. One other really exciting thing, which we launched today, is a very new thing for us, a WhatsApp group that we're going to be presenting teaching from the Sefaria library. It is going to be 10 short teaching tips that we're going to WhatsApp to people in the group starting on Thursday, about 2 a week. And we would love for you to join us with that. And Lauren will put that link also in the chat, and the link to it is also on this sheet. So all of that is there for you. So with all that introduction, I want to also say that you're welcome to just watch and listen. You can also kind of play along, and also we will be recording, as you know, we are recording this, and we will put it on the sheet and mail it out to everybody who is here today and those who registered. So if you feel it's going too fast, you want to come back to it, you can always do that. If you have questions, I would love it if you could write them into the chat. Lauren knows what we're going to be covering. So if it's something that's coming up down the line, he'll wait off, but I have certain times we'll stop and Lauren will get to ask these questions. I'm also happy to stay on after if people want something repeated. I'd like to remind everybody one last time to mute yourselves, and if you have questions, to put them in the chat. Also, and really this is, I think, the final thing before I get started, is to say that I know for myself, when I watch a webinar and I see someone on the computer doing all these things, it makes a lot of sense. And then I sit in front of the computer and I I don't remember how to do that. So we've got you covered. You can always email us at hello@sefaria.org. And we also have a help center that I will show you in a second when I share my screen with you so that you can see our website. All of that information also is on the sheet that Lauren put the link to in the source sheet. So what I'm going to do is I am going to share my screen. Here we go. Of course, I don't really have the right thing on the screen, so just give me a second. And here it is. Not my Zoom. I'm so sorry. There we go. Okay, so here we are on the Sefaria website. I'm going to close. I'm not going to see any of you. So, and we'd like you to mute yourselves. If you need help for anything on Sefaria, over on the top right-hand corner is the profile button. And if I click on that, mine has a samach for Sefaria. Yours will have either your initials or an image if you put it. If you go down to help and you click on help, you'll get to our help center. And on the help center, you have all kinds of help for Sefaria. And at the bottom here, we have making a source sheet on the new editor. And this will cover everything that I'm going to be covering today. Also, this is the sheet that that you have the link to, and on here you also have a link right here to the to that sheet, making a sheet on the new editor, and to the help center, and to the email. So we really no question hasn't been asked enough. So feel free to ask anything that you've got. So I'm going to start again to talk a little bit about what a source sheet is. And even though we call them source sheets, they're really, or sheets, they're really different than any other paper kind of a source sheet. They are created by a user, and it's basically a web page, which can include sources from the Sefaria library, media, anything that you would like to write. They're connected to the Sefaria library, and if listed or made public, they're searchable so that other people can find them. They default to private, so sharing is an option that you have to choose. Sheets can be shared either that way, or you can send a link to somebody and share your sheets. They can always be edited and adapted, and that's something that I really appreciate because when I make a sheet, usually a little bit later, I think, oh, I should have done it differently. I have something else to add. Maybe I taught a lesson and something didn't go so well, or someone made a comment or something that I want to put on my sheet. And you can always keep editing them as opposed to, when you've printed out a sheet. Sheets are a great way to collect your ideas, to teach others, and to contribute to the Sefaria library, because when you make them public, they become part of our library. Currently, almost 400,000 sheets have been created on the site, and more than 10,000 of those sheets are listed or are public. Over 40,000 Sefaria users have created sheets. So whether you're one of them, if you're one of them already, great job. If you're not, I'm glad that you're here to learn, and we hope that you will be adding your Torah, your ideas to the Sefaria library, or even using it to keep your thoughts to yourselves. I'm going to show you a couple examples of sheets just to kind of give you a sense of what you can do. This first sheet is just kind of a basic sheet. This is one that our education team has made for Shavuot. And you can see that it has a little introduction. It has some sources. You can add images, links. This is linked, texts from our library. Also, when you make a sheet, the reader gets to decide how they want to view it. So you have, just like you have in the library, you have an A Aleph button. So I'm going to click my A Aleph button, and I'm going to make it bilingual now. So now the same thing is with Hebrew and English. So a person could make a sheet, and how people want to read it is how they choose to read it. So this is one type of a sheet. Another type, here's one that was made by Rabbi David Winship, who makes wonderful, wonderful sheets and always makes them, I don't know always, but he makes plenty of them public so everybody can use them. This is one on the Yizkor prayer. So you can see that he sort of did this as like a lesson that a person can learn something on their own, because it walks you through it. And he has an introduction, and he has, he'll also have texts. And so these are also a great example of what you can do with a sheet. And the third one I want to show you is one that adds sound. I'm not going to click it because you're not going to hear it, but you can add a video. This is just a recording. So this is Michelle Cohen-Farber, who runs Hadran, and she's giving a Gemara class, and you can listen to it and also follow along. So as a creator, you can do that too. We have some people who make YouTube videos and then have the texts and explanations that go with it. So these are all things that I want you to think about of what you can do with the Sefaria source sheet builder. Also, just to get a sense of it before we get started with showing you how to make it, is how do they work in the library? So for instance, so I'm going to go back to, that. I'm going to go back to the Shavuot. I'm going to go back to our library, actually, and I'm going to show you how the Shavuot sheet is linked to the library. So if I were to, I'm going to type in, since I know one of the texts that's on there. I'm going to just put it in the search bar, and I'm going to put Exodus, because I happen to know that this is on that sheet, 2316. So if I go to Exodus 2316, here I am, and I click on it, I get the resource panel. And if I go on the side, you can see that there are 104 sheets that actually use this verse, that 104 public sheets. I have no idea how many private sheets use this verse, but public sheets, there are 104. If I click on it, this is going to go to the top because it's our sheet, but you can go through all of the different sheets. And so if somebody is studying this verse, they will see your sheet. If you've made it public, they will see it attached to the verse. Also, they are also in our topic pages. So on this one, I'm going to, again, kind of cheat because I know what I'm looking for. I'm going to put in Yisker, and I'm clicking the one with the hashtag because that's a topic page. And I'm seeing the sheets, and lo and behold, there is that sheet by Rabbi Winship, along with a whole bunch of other sheets about Yisker. So through the topics, through the sources, if you make it public, these are ways that people will find your sheets and get the opportunity to learn with you. I'm going to stop for a second for questions, but not how-tos yet, because we haven't gotten to the how-to. So anything just about the sheet in general, if you want to type it into the chat, and I'm going to ask Lauren if we have any questions. Lauren?
Yeah, well, we had a couple questions, one of which we answered publicly already, another one which we will get to, and a question from Paul: can private sheets be shared privately, i.e. with a Torah study group? That's one question that was asked.
Yes, so if you want to share it privately, you can always send the URL of your sheet, and well, I think I can do it of
middle of the class. I'm sorry.
of this sheet. So if I click on the title, I get the resource panel that goes with the sheet. Now this one isn't even my sheet, but I can share it. I can click share, and now I could share it on Facebook. I could share it on Twitter. I could share it by email, or I could simply copy the URL and send it to somebody. So I can share it with my class. I can share it with anybody like that. So yes, you can do that. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you all of these how-tos, because what we're going to do is we're going to actually make a sheet together. So I will go step by step through it. So one of the things you may have noticed is that we've recently developed a new editor for creating sheets. We've had the same one for quite some time, and we revamped it, our engineers created something really special and new that has been available for, I don't know, about 6 months. Some people have been testing it, we've been using it, and we recently have made it available to everybody. And so in this webinar, I really want to show you how this one works. And I noticed when I was doing it, when I was preparing for it, I noticed that the webinar is actually going to be shorter because it's less complicated, much easier to use. So it has a clear look. It works more like a Word or a Google Doc. And for those who are familiar with the old editor, or somebody who wrote us recently referred to it as the legacy editor, so I think I'm going to call it that. If you're familiar with that, you'll notice that some of the new features of the new editor include that edit and read are in the same view. Before, you had to switch between edit mode and library view. Now what you see is what you get. You can also add content anywhere on the sheet. You don't have to use modules. You don't have to decide what type of content you want to add first. And wherever you click, you can add. So that's a really nice addition. And it also saves automatically. Before, you had to save once. Now you don't even have to save at all. But one thing that you will have to do to get into the new editor is that there's a link that you'll have to click. And Lauren is going to put it into the chat. It's also on our sheet for today, and it's also on that sheet, making a source sheet in the new editor. You will find the link there. And if worst comes to worst, you want to do this and you can't remember the link, you can email us at hello@sefaria.org and I'll send it to you. What it is www.sefaria.org/enable. I don't know what you call the underline one, new, and then another underline one, editor. So once you're in there, now you're in there. If you want to go back at another time, you can, but there you are. So I'm going to show you now how we start a sheet from scratch. So I'm going to start with clicking on my profile button. And my computer is going to be a little slower right now because, there it is, because I'm doing Zoom at the same time. And you'll see that it says create a new sheet in the drop-down menu. So there are other places you can create a sheet, but that's a great place to start. And so you can see that this is what the new editor looks like. It's got nothing on it. It says write something, it says untitled, and it's blank. It's just an open page for me to start getting creative. Also, very important, you must be logged into your Sefaria account and you have to be on the website. You cannot, just like before, you cannot create a sheet on the app. So we opened it up, we went to create a new sheet, and I'm going to name it. You just like always, you can always change this. You can edit anything. So I'm going to do sheet webinar sample. Okay, so that's it, but I can change it anytime I want. I don't have to save, it's all saved, it's all ready, it's ready to go. And now all I have to do is type something. So I just clicked where it says write something. I'm very creative, so you'll see how creative I get. Okay, I can edit this, I can delete it, I can, just like you're typing on any Google Doc or Word document, anything. So that's how you start. You just can, and you don't have to start with that. You could start with any of the things that we're doing, but that's the first thing. When I press return or enter, I could write another paragraph if I like, but I also have this plus icon. If I have the plus icon, there's several things I can do. So right now, I want to add a source from the library. So I'm going to click on the plus, and it gives me three options: a quotation mark. This is like an image thing, and this is like a YouTube thing. So I'm going to start with the quotation marks, and it says add a source. So I'm going to click it, and it says search for a text. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put from this week's Parsha, I'm going to put Leviticus, and it gives me that drop down menu if I didn't want to type it all up. Leviticus, and it's going to suggest 3, but I'm not going to put 3, I'm going to put 16. And it shows me, just like below, it shows me what I'm looking at. I'm going to do 1, and that's what it is. It shows me, I can look, is this what I want? Yep, this is what I want. Actually, I just want verse 1, and I click add. And there it is, right like that. I have my verse, very, very simple. So again, all I did was I clicked the plus, I clicked the quotation mark, and then I put in the source that I wanted. There's another way that I can add a source, and that is from the library. So I'm going to put the same source, but I'm going to put it in a different way, and it's going to go beneath it. I'm going to go just to our library, and I'm going to open up that same verse from the library. So that was Leviticus, and it was 16. And I happen to like bilingual, but I want to put a different translation because, as many of you know, we have many, many translations of especially of the Torah. So I'm going to click on it to change the translation in the resource panel. So translation. So I'm right now in our new Contemporary Torah JPS 2006. That says current translation, but I'm going to turn to another of our new ones, which is the 5 Books of Moses by Everett Fox. I'm going to change the translation. So whatever translation I have in the library, when I add it to the sheet, it's going to add with that translation. This is a question a lot of people ask us. How do I choose the translation that's on my sheet? That you do from adding it directly from the library, as opposed to adding it on the sheet. So I'm going to go back And now in the resource panel, I'm going to click down and it says add to sheet. This we had before, add to sheet. It's going to give me my most recent sheet, which is the one I want to add it to. But if I didn't, I would have a drop down menu. I could see all of our sheets, or I could start a new sheet. But I'm going to add it to our sheet webinar sample. I'm going to click add to sheet. I could either open it by clicking over here, but when I'm adding a lot of things, I tend not to do that. I tend to want to do it here just by refreshing. On the top left, I have my refresh button. And now we're going to see that I have, this is the one I originally put in, and now I have the same verse, but I have it, you can tell that I have the second translation. So those are two ways to add a text from our library to your sheet. Now, it's going to add it bilingual like this, but how people view it is always up to them. So if I wanted to view it with just English, there I have just English. So it's up to the reader how they want to view it. Okay, so we've added twice the same verse, and now I want to add a YouTube video. So I'm going to click in the white space, and you can see over on the left I have another plus. So I'm going to click the plus, and now I'm going to click the YouTube icon. And now it says paste a link to an image, audio, or video or audio. So I prepared a bit before, and I have a YouTube video already for me. I'm going to copy the URL. I'm going to go back to my sheet, and now I'm going to paste it right in there. I'm going to click add media, and there is my video, which now will play directly in my sheet. I could do the same thing with a SoundCloud clip. That was like, I can do that here as I have from 929, they have the whole Tanakh recorded, but this is the chapter that we were just doing. I just copy the URL. I put it like this. I have another plus, and but I want to show you something else. I could put it at the bottom, but I want to show you I can put a plus anywhere. Let's say I want to put it between these two. I'm going to click in the white spot. I have a plus here. I'm going to stick this one in right there. And now we have, wait. I would prefer if, actually, I'm sorry, if you write the comment, the question in the, I'm going to stop in a minute and take everybody's questions. So I just want to show you one more thing before I do that, and then I'm going to stop. So, and I'll show you anything over again, and I'll stay after also. So the last one I want to show you is this another plus, and here is the middle one, which is adding an image, or basically it's adding anything that's on your computer. So I'm going to click here, and we're going to get my computer, and I have a picture there that I have this road and field. So this is my desktop, my family pictures, which I'm not adding to the sheet. But here is a beautiful picture that I happen to take. And now I've added a picture. So I will, so those are all the different things that you can put onto your sheet. Editing will do, formatting will do after this break. I did have one more thing. This was starting a sheet from scratch, but you also don't have to start from scratch. You can copy somebody else's and then make it your own. So if I went back to this Yisker sheet, and now I want to base my sheet. I want to base my work on this, but I don't want it exactly the same. I go to copy in the, again, I opened that panel by clicking the name in the header, not the name, but not the title, but up on the top here in the header. And I'm going to copy it. And it says that it was copied. It says view copy. And now you can see it's a copy. I can, of course, I can change the name. So I don't really like it there, copy, but I'm going to put my Yisker sheet. And now it's my sheet. I can edit, I can take out something, I can change something. That's another way. You don't have to start from scratch. Okay, Lauren, I just threw out so much at everybody. If there are questions for everybody, that would be great.
Yeah, wow. We have quite a few questions. I believe everyone has been answered individually.
Oh,
Which
I don't
is
get to know what they are.
well, no, let's see here. So
It's fine, as long as everybody's been answered, that's good.
can one question I think is, and I think we sort of went over this, but if you just want to share again, if somebody's
Sure.
in the sheet, well, can you just again show us how to add a sheet, add a text to the sheet from the library? And also, if you're not sure exactly what the text is, but I know it's on the first page of brachot in the Talmud, but I don't know exactly, is it, at the top, the bottom, is it, 2A3 or whatever it is? Might you be able to show us how to navigate that, maybe with the plus button?
Right, so you could do it with the plus button. I'm going to put it here. And so I could do it this way. So I would put, I guess I would put, I guess I wouldn't do this. Okay, so wait, we say brachot? Okay, so here we have Talmud brachot. So I'm going to click that. That's what I want. And we said it was the beginning. So I will put 2A. And now I can see what there is, and I can decide what I want. And I could add it that way. Personally, that's not the way I do it, but you certainly are welcome to do it. Let's see.
Can you make it appear in Hebrew?
Yeah, it's going to do it in Hebrew anyway. It's probably that I have it on mine, not in Hebrew. Let's see what happens if I do this. And now I'm going to add the source. Let's see if it might just give me, where'd it go? Yeah, it gave me the whole page. It's going to give me the whole page. So I don't want that. So I wouldn't actually, and it did give it to me in Hebrew and in English. I wouldn't like that. So I am going to, that's so long too. I'm going to delete this. Hopefully I'm going to show you how to do this better. Hopefully this is going to go smoothly. I got my fingers crossed here. Hang on, it's really long. So I would do that from the library. I add most of my texts from the library for that reason, even in the old editor. So there, shoot, I went, okay, let's try it.
Rachel, you
There
can
we
just
go.
erase the text by clicking on the box, no?
Yeah, I did. I just did. Okay. So I would do that, what you just described, I would do it from the library. So I'm going to show you again. That would be my way of doing it because I then have more control over what I'm picking. And to me, it's just the library is so nice. And to me, it's just an easier way to navigate. So that's what I would do. I would do it this way. And I would want it Hebrew English also. I keep having to move this toolbar, which you can't see. But if you're wondering why I'm not just clicking so quickly, it's my Zoom toolbar. Okay, so now, see, now I have the sections. So it's much, much easier for me to decide what it is that I want. So I'm going to do it while the resource panel is open. And let's say I want just 2 and 3. And again, these are our sections. So it's not like, oh, that it's that. So, okay, I want just 2 and 3. And now I'm going to add to sheet. And it's going to add to I'm going to do that, add to sheet. It's going to go to the bottom, but I'm going to show you how to move all of that. I'm going to go to my sheet and refresh. And now it's going to be on the bottom, but just the part that I wanted as opposed to the whole thing. So especially with things that are large, like a whole Talmud page, I would really recommend, because look how nice that is. It has 2 and 3, and there it is. So yeah. So Lauren, I know there are other questions. I saw someone's hand was up.
Yeah, Paul's hand was up, but I believe Paul had mentioned that his question was answered.
Great. My favorite kind of question.
I had a couple questions. I think I may have forgotten them by now. They're back in the chat.
Okay, well, that's why typing them is great because Lauren can get to them faster than I can. And if they're still outstanding or he thinks it's something that I should show everybody, then he'll ask me to do it.
Thank you, Rachel. The first question I had, I think Uriel also asked, if we log in, can we set a default translation?
Yeah, so you can set a default translation for Torah, for Chumash, for the 5 books of the Torah. Whatever you choose is your translation, it will stick for all 5 of the books, but otherwise not so much. And actually, Lauren, do you know if that translation is what's going to go on your sheet? Not 100% sure.
The default translation, meaning
Yeah.
if you have a different, I think the default translation on Sefaria will be the one that goes there. If your personal default is different, that is a good question.
Yeah, so you'll have to try that out. And if the answer is no, then what you want to do is add it from the library. Make sure you have the translation that you want. It will definitely, when it adds from the library, it will add the translation that you have chosen from the library. And again, I mean, you can add however you like.
Yeah,
Making less sheets. My personal preference is to add from the library.
Understood. We have JPS, and now we have Everett Fox, you know, which is awesome. So these are important things for a tourist study group. Tourist study group.
We have several translations. We have many translations.
Talk about that for a second. Tell me, what are the other ones? I'm sure other people.
Well, so what you would need to do, and I'm not going to do it because I have more things to show you on the sheets. But if you come to a Sefaria 101, we would show you. But if you're here now, I'm on always in the resource panel. It says translations. I'm in Talmud now. We don't have as many, but you click and you can see which translations, and you always can select the one you want. If I were in, if I'm in Tanakh, and let's say I pick, and you have to be in something. So now there's 18 translations, not all of them English, but I can go through and see and pick in a Torah study group. It's also sometimes really interesting to compare translations, and there's lots you can do. That's a different webinar. I'm going to move on, if that's okay, and show you now that we have some things on the sheet. Now I want to oops, go ahead, sorry.
You just show us how to switch to the new sheets again, because I tried and it didn't give me the option.
You have to click on the link. Maybe Lauren will put the link back in the chat. All you do is click on it. Once you've clicked on it, you're in, and then open up Sefaria and the web. Then you'll be in. If you have a problem after, just send just just send an email to Lauren. He'll help you out. Okay, what I'd like to do now is I'd like to show you how to format or edit and format your sheet. So now you've got your main things on here. If you notice that this verse here has God's name on it, and so you might want to change it to be viewed in a different way, especially if you're printing. It's an option we want to give you. So if I click on the header here, it opens up the resource panel. I'm going to later talk about all these things, but I do want to point out right now, if you click divine name, then I have a choice of how I would like it to display on my sheet. And you do it once, it'll change it for all of the text that you have. So I have a drop-down menu, and I can choose, let's say I would like the hay with a chuk. I just selected it, and now you can see it changed it. And it's interesting because this translation uses the Hebrew in the English. So before we had this translation, our engineers had it set up that it was only searching the Hebrew text. But now that we have Hebrew in the English, they had to change it so that it also is searching the English text. And so there it is. So it's changed, and you can see it's changed on all of them. So that is something that you can, that's a formatting decision that you can make. Other things, again, I have mentioned that the layout, side by side, or however I want to view those texts, that is not something that the person who makes the sheet decides. That is something that the reader decides. So you don't have to do anything. But here is the side by side, and I could take out the Hebrew. I could make it all Hebrew. But that's not the sheet has it all. It's the viewing, how you want to view it, is left up to the reader. I'm going to go back to bilingual though, because I want to show you some things with editing. So I can format also and edit a a source itself. So let's say, I should have left that long one on, but let's say I want to, oh, I left this, this is good. Let's say I would like to shorten something, or maybe I want to take something out. I'm just gonna pick something. I click on the text itself. The Hebrew and the English are separate. So I click on the text and you'll see it's very light. You see, it used to be a blue box and now it's a gray box. You see around, I'm kind of taking my cursor to show you the outline. That means I can edit it. And sorry, Rabban Gamliel, but I'm going to just take him out. So I can, so when you see, when I highlight it, I have choices. Okay, I could just click delete, take him out, but I feel kind of bad about that. So I could click B, and now it's in bold, and now it's also italics, and now it's also underlined. So those are my choices, and that's changing it. That's a little bit much though. Okay, so now it's just in bold. But as I said, I could actually, whoops, sorry. Maybe not do that so gracefully. I did take it out. Okay, we're going to go to a different one because I messed that one up. Here I can click on the English side as well. And let's say, and now you can see you also have the box around it. And let's say I don't want it to say Aharon, I want it to say Aaron. So I just do it like how you would use a regular word processor. And I just take out the H. So I can edit the actual text itself. I can also bold, italics, or underline the text itself. Anything besides a text, I also have a lot of options. So this was my writing that I did. And on this, I can highlight anything that I want. So here I'm highlighting, and I have even a bigger formatting menu. I can highlight, I can bold. There's my bold. I can italics, underline, and I can do more than one. I'm just going to show you one by one, but I can mix it up. I can underline and bold. This little pencil is my highlighter. So I could highlight a word. Besides, I could do a whole phrase. I just selected a word, but here's what it looks like. So now it's got the green. I'll pick a phrase. So now I get another one. I can put a link. I can hyperlink to something, and I click that and I enter my hyperlink. So we do a lot of hyperlinks. I could link to, let's say I don't want to put the text here. I could link to a source in our library. And actually, I probably should show you what that looks like, because that is a very cool thing to do. So I'm going to pick something. I'm going to take the URL. This is a long one. And now I'm going to actually, this won't make any sense, but it'll show you. I click the link, I add my hyperlink, and now where it says a new sheet, you can see it's linked. And look what happens when I click on it. It opens it to the side. So what you might want to do is you might want to say, look at this verse while you continue reading here. I don't know. If I don't want to have the verse,
It didn't just do one verse though.
I can do more than one verse, but that's I could do a whole section of text.
It did the whole section, no?
No, it only did that verse, but it showed it to me on the side. I'm in the whole library. It opened up a new panel. So so that way the person can look at that verse or any other verse. They've got the whole library. And if I had another one, if I put something different, it would have replaced it. So yes, I could say this verse, or I could say these verses, but what it is it opens up a new panel on the side. You're in the library now. And everything that comes with that. Okay, so you can hyperlink. Another thing that you can do is, let's say I want to make a title. So this is my title section. Okay, so now I'm going to highlight this, and I can click on the H, and now it makes it a heading like that with a little line. I happen to like doing that and also bolding. So now you'll see I did that on the other sheet. So now I have a title. I can put that anywhere I want. If I change that, I don't want this to be a title, a head, maybe I don't want it in the middle. I want it on the side. There it is on the side. I also can, let's say I want these to be number 1 and number 2. Well, that's because I have never mind, I'm going to do it differently. This is my first point. This is my second point. So I can select this whole thing, and now I can do numbers. And let's say I decide, oh, I have a third point. And then let's say I decide I don't want to number them. I would really prefer bullets because I'm a bullet person myself, and now they're bullets. So all of those things you can do: bold, italics, underline, highlight, hyperlink, header, numbers, and bullets.
Hey, Rachel, sorry to interrupt. Can you just do the header one more time? Because I don't know if the header actually went through on that one. I think maybe because it's bold and sometimes that gets complicated.
No, it did. I just unheaded it.
Oh, you unheaded it. Okay.
Yeah, I did a header.
Oh, that's interesting. Usually it's
I
much
did the
bigger.
header, and then I said, well, maybe I don't want a header, and I put it back.
Can you try
Because-
unbolding it for a second and then redo the header? Because
Sure.
usually, in my experience, using
Unbold it,
Okay,
and
that's
there it is.
interesting.
There's my header.
Why is is there a way to change the size of that?
No, but if you print, then I'm going to show you how to export to Google Docs, and then you can change everything here. You cannot change the size of the font, although you can change the size of the font for the whole thing. I'm going to close my side panel just by that. But on my A Olive button, I can make it bigger, but that's making everything bigger. And again, I recommend using your A Olive button and changing your font here, because as opposed to if you were to just use your computer to make it bigger, you'd go outside of the margins. And if you use your A Olive menu, then you when it makes it really big, it's still I don't know how to explain what, but you're seeing what it's doing. It keeps it all within the frame. Whereas if I did it like this, I'm going to be out of the frame. Okay, should think of words to go with that. Okay, so that's that. I want to show you also to delete. To delete, you just do like how you would do anything. You just, you highlight it and you delete it, or I click and I use my delete button. If I want to do a section of text, I click on it, I delete it. Just delete. That works out just fine. That's how I delete. And then moving text. So first we're going to talk about moving a source like this. I'm going to take this source and I'm going to put it above the SoundCloud recording. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag, and you see that the number, it moved. It doesn't look like it's moving, but it all is. And then I let go, and there it is. If I want to move to the top of the sheet where it's outside of what we see here, you can do that. It will scroll with you. So I'm going to, again, I'm clicking, dragging, I'm going up, 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 up. Oh, this is going to be a problem because of, this is my Zoom problem. Believe me, it will scroll. Let me try below. I don't try doing this on Zoom. It absolutely will work, and it will scroll. When you go above, then the sheet will scroll and you can put it where you want. You can see a picture of it on the source sheet that shows you how to make a sheet on New Editor. It really, really works. I also can move my own text by clicking it. Now I've selected it, and now I can drag it. And now I'm going to put it above. I also, if it's not working so well for you, if it's not as smooth, if it's too hard to coordinate, you also could use a cut and paste. So I'm going to cut it, and now I'm going to paste it. So you can move text by cutting and pasting. You can move text by dragging. I'm going to stop, Lauren, if there are questions, and then we're going to do the last part.
Yeah, well, definitely a lot of comments and a lot of helpful feedback. I'm going through some of the questions, but if folks have other questions, please put them.
And let me just say that we
uh,
love your feedback. Editor is something we've been working on, we've been refining. It's not perfect. Most things aren't, and even perfect things can be more perfect. So you can always send us feedback at hello@sefaria.org. I get those emails. I pass them on to our designers and our engineers. We love to hear how you're using it, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. This information is very, very helpful to people who are there right now, making this and perfecting it. So your input is very important to us. Okay, go ahead, Lauren.
Well, actually, I'm going to call on Carla for a second, if you can. I don't know if I fully understood, or well, because there's so many messages coming in. If you could share what you're going through, because it seems like some other folks are also dealing with the same thing.
Hi, Carla.
Hey, basically, I'm playing around with the new editor because there are two situations when I teach. When I teach, I usually don't teach with everybody on the web. People either want to print out themselves, or I present a PDF to where I'm teaching, and that's what's used as the handout.
Okay.
And so I know a lot of people are trying to figure out the same thing that concerned me. Everybody that I work with prefers side by side, either in my printout or, in the link that I send them. And I'm playing with it and it seems like I've got it, but some people are saying that's not going to work if I do a Zoom presentation, which I also do the share on screen. But I can always turn it into a PDF and throw the PDF up on the screen if I have to. So that's
it will
where a
work.
lot of it is.
On Zoom, it will work.
Yeah, if you're here, if
Okay.
you're on our site, I mean, here I have it side by side. That's the AL
Right.
button. You just choose how you'd like to view it.
And
The question
and mine
is
has
when
the
you print
English
it.
reversed. So,
Excuse
which
me?
is what a lot of people want. Mine has the English reversed, which is what a lot of people want. So
Oh, well,
presume
I
it's
just
a-
pressed that button. There we go.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
I
got
mean,
there.
you
I
have three
played with it.
choices this is all the time in our, whether you make a sheet or whether you just use the library, you always in the A Olive button have three choices. Stacked, which is Hebrew on the top and then English on the bottom. And then side by side, one choice is Hebrew on the left and one choice is Hebrew on the right. You can decide, your students can decide if they're doing it. So yeah, as far as if there's something that you want side by side with printing, you should send that as a suggestion, and I will pass that along.
I definitely want print mode. I mean, right now I can just send the page to the printer and it will give me something that I can submit. But it
if
would
you
be
do
really
this,
nice.
I'm going to show you in a second. I'm going to show you all those things on the resource panel. I need to have enough time to do that. So actually, Lauren, do you think it's okay if I just move on and then people who have those outstanding questions, I'm really happy to stay here all night to do this.
We can, or I know David, Rabbi Paskin was showing us on his screen. If we want to try, and this is very unconventional for our webinars, but if we want to try spotlighting him to show us, otherwise we can go on. What do you think, Rachel?
What is he showing?
David, are you still able to show us if I spotlight you?
What are we showing?
Yeah. So here's the question. The question was, many of us like our source sheets to have the Hebrew on the right, English on the left. Now we've all determined, thank you, Rachel, that you can do that. The question I think is it's up to the end user. I cannot force this view on the sheet, because what Sefaria's decided to do is to allow everyone to decide how they want to view the sheet. If you're on Zoom and you're just presenting this through a screen share, or the way I'm doing it, just kind of bringing it in, you can change the view. You just click on the A Aleph, as Rachel was saying, and then you can change the view to whatever you want. But it only changes on the end user's sheet. So if people are looking at your sheet, they will see whatever you choose. If they're looking at their own sheet, they will see whatever they choose.
But I want to show, I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure though, that I want to show you, this will be a twofer, because we're just going to try it out. A lot of things we do, we just try them out and see what happens. And as a teacher, I do this with my young student, I do it with my older students, and I think you should all feel free to also say, hey, we're just all learning together. So I wanted to show you anyway how to, when you print, I want to show you the resources on the side because I have important ones to show you and I have 8 minutes left. So I'm going to click on the header and come on, my poor computer, it's so tired. It's not opening. Why? Okay, I'm going to refresh and try again. But along with many of the other goodies on the side that I want to show you, we have export to Google Docs. This is a great way to print. And what I want to see here, what I'm going to see here is if this is going to print side by side. I believe it's going to, but since I'm not 100%, it's a great way for me to show you how to print it. So I could print, actually I could try it this way too, because we'll see on my screen. We're going to see how it's going to print, and we're going to see if it prints side by side as it's loading its preview. Look at that, it will. So yeah, just put it there on the AL of how you want it, and then send it to the printer, and it will print that way. The same thing when you export to Google Docs. So if I wanted to do more editing, we don't have, Google has thousands of engineers who work on every little aspect of their editing. We have an incredible engineering team, but they are by thousands smaller than them. So we can't provide everything that you're used to doing on a Google Doc, but we can have you export your sheet. So when you're done, because you can't import it. So when you're done, you've got everything on it that you want. You can export to Google Docs. I would click on this. It will go to Google Docs, and then I open my doc, and then I can use all of Google's wonderful things. And I could do colors and backgrounds and everything all the fancy things, and then print it out if I would like to. So that's another, or show it on the screen. That's another thing. I want to show you some of these other very important things on the side. So if you want to make your sheet public, you click on the public whatever that was. And really important, write a summary. Please, please, please write a summary of your sheet. So in this case, obviously, I'm not really going to make it public since no one would benefit from this. But this is my sample sheet for the webinar. Okay, so people have an idea of what it is. So because you know that certain places have hundreds of sheets, how does somebody know if the sheet is something that's interesting for them? If you're a teacher and you want to say, this sheet was created for a 5th grade class, or this is an adult ed, whatever. This was my Dvar Torah that I gave at my bar mitzvah. This is discussing Shemitah and the concept of blah, blah, blah. So people get a sense of what it is. You also can tag it. So I don't have any appropriate tags for this, but let's say I had made a Pesach one. I'm going to tag it. It's going to give me suggestions. Pesach, maybe I want to make sure that people who wrote Passover are also going to see it. Maybe it was about the Seder. Can tag it many, many times. This helps to make sure that your sheet is going to show up in a topic sheet, a topic search. You want people to find your sheet, and you want them to easily know, is this the sheet I'm looking for? And also, when you're a looker, you will appreciate it when you're looking for sheets, and you can see you can see what people were doing. Also, and then you'd click publish. I'm not clicking publish because I don't really want to publish this. You also can put it in a collection. You can read about collections. I don't have in my 5 minutes, I'm not going to talk about that, but you could click and that's where it would go in your collection. Another reason that you want to be doing this and with the summary is we have this community page where we pick for the Parsha every week, several a week, different calendar items. So this one's about Omer because we're counting Omer now, something about Talmud. These are for people who need a place to start and are interested in something. But you'll see this is what the summary looks like. And all of these on the community page have a summary. And if we choose one of your sheets to put on here and you don't write a summary, then we have to write a summary. But you know your sheet so much better than we do. So it would be much better if you wrote the summary. But you can see the idea of this and why this is nice. I would now know, do I want to open this or don't I want to open this? So I think the more people write summaries, the better it is. I'm going to go back to my sheet to show you the other things on the side. So that is, I'm going to go back because I can't see. It's harder to do the sheets when you are also doing Zoom. Okay, let's open. Come on. Also on the side, you will see how you could copy your own sheet, how you can print your sheet, you can export to Google Docs. And those things were all on the side. And right now, of course, it's not opening. But I do want to show you one very, very last thing, and that's how to delete a sheet. So we talked about how to delete all of these, each individual thing, but how do I delete the whole sheet? And I'm actually am going to delete. Once you delete, it's gone. So, you know, caution. But I am going to delete this sheet since I don't think we really need it. So you click on your profile button and you go to your profile page. This is also where you will find all of your sheets. You click profile, and now you'll have your profile and you will have all of your sheets. We have a lot of sheets. You'll have your collections. So here is our sheet. Here it is, sheet webinar sample. And if I wanted to put it in a collection, I haven't done it yet, I could do it there. And here is the X. This is the delete button. And so I am going to click on delete. It's going to warn me because we don't do this lightly, but I'm not going to lose any tears about losing this sheet. I'm going to click OK. And now I have deleted the sheet. If I refresh this, you'll see that that sheet is gone. So anyway, that's basically what I have to show you. I will take more questions. I do want to, before I take the rest of the questions, I do want to mention that Sefaria is a not-for-profit organization and we do welcome donations. There is a link. We have this beautiful new sheet, a couple places on our site where you can find out about donating. One is the donate button on the top. That's a great way. It will take you, you can make a donation here. Another great way, this is something brand new and I think it's beautiful. So that's why I'm just kind of showing off my colleagues' work. If you click ways to save, look at this. I'm very proud of this. I had nothing to do with it, but I think it's beautiful.
Well, ways to give, but
Oh, did I say
of
ways
course,
to save?
every gift is also an act of saving, of course.
I guess I've been clipping too many coupons or something. Okay, ways to give. Yes, ways to give, and all of our different information. And what's really great about this page is it also has questions that you might have and logistics and how to contact the people if there's a problem with your donation. So anyway, I think this is really, really great. We hope to make more pages that aren't necessarily all about giving that look like this, but I wanted to show that to you. So now oh, it's 9 o'clock. I want to thank all of you for joining us. I will stay on and we can just keep going with questions. I have another sample sheet, so I can play around on that if I need to show you anything. Okay, so
Thank you very
Lauren,
much.
hit me up. Got questions? Lauren?
Well, can you show us one more time how to add a summary?
Yes,
Can you do that for
I'd
us?
love to. I'd love to see a big jump in summaries. So it's in the share settings. What is it called? It's underneath my thing. The publish settings, sorry, is underneath my bar. I have that. And so this is, I actually wrote a summary, but I did not make this public. And that's where you write it. You do the summary, you do your topics, you click publish. And you can unpublish. Actually, I could publish it because whatever. And then you can also change your mind, because at Sefaria, you always can change your mind, unpublish. So that's where you do that. Okay, next one.
Let's see. Why don't we take some from the crowd? Let's see. Can you show us how to hyperlink again? I think
Yes.
that's Gary. I think that's what you're asking.
Yes. So I'm going to take a text. This time I can take a wider, but it doesn't actually really matter because it's going to take you to the whole thing. So I'm going to, you want to, I'm going to do it. I like a different view. I'm going to do this. You do it with the resource panel open, and now I'm going to select what I want. Whoops, sorry. I'm going to select, let's say I want verses 1 and 2. And then I take the URL, which is in, so it's selected. You see it's all in blue. I click up on the URL, I copy it, and now I'm going to go to that sheet. I'm going to write some text. I would like to hyperlink. And now I'm going to select, I'm going to highlight it, which gives me that, whoops. It's going to give me the menu bar. The last thing you want to do is hyperlink. Not like the last thing in the world. The last thing as far as like if I'm going to bold and I'm going to underline and I'm going to do other things, the last one I want to do is hyperlink. For some reason, when it's hyperlinked, it's not as cooperative. So now it's hyperlinked and you'll see what happens when I click on it. It opens on the side. I guess I must have kind of double clicked it. Okay, so there it is. Next question.
Can you put in sources from other websites or just copy and paste?
No, sure. I could, let's see, I don't know, what's my favorite, what do I have up here? Anybody else's website? Let's say I want to put in from, I don't know, let's see what's going on in Israel. So let's say I want to put an article. I don't know. This might not have been the fastest way. Okay. So let's say we want to open this article. And so I'm opening the article. Okay, so now I have the URL on the top and I can go back to my sheet now. And I want to hyperlink the article. Okay, so here I'm going to hyperlink the article. And now I'm going to see what happens. It's going to take, it won't do the side panel, but it will open a new link on the side. So yes, you can hyperlink anything that you would like.
So I could put a header there, let's say Rabbi Sachs or whatever other place, and just put the header as a hyperlink and put it and copy and paste the quote into my sheet.
Yes, well, yes, you can. And this is what's different from the old editor. You had to do like other text or comment. You had to do a comment or an outside text. Here, I could take. Let me just take from that article, just because I have it up already. Let's say I would like to take this paragraph. I'm going to copy it, and now I'm going to just put it in my sheet. There it is. So I could put anything. And if I wanted to, you know, I'm hyperlinking the article. I could put the name of the article, hyperlink it so people could go there and then put the quote, which that would be a great way to do it. So I'd have a little bit, but if they want to go to the entire article, then they would click on the hyperlink. And if it's outside of Sefaria, it's going to open it in another tab. If it's something from our library, it's going to open on the side, which is really nice because then you still have it. You're still in there.
Rachel, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You said that you had another source sheet if we wanted to see something again from the beginning?
Well, what we're going to do is we're recording this. And we have a sheet that we're going to send it to everybody, whether you attend it or not. And I actually can't find it right now, but somewhere I have this sheet, and we're going to add the recording and send it to you. And then, you know, you can speed it up by 2 or fast forward or just hit the parts you need.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I'm going to stop the
In terms
share
of
so I can-
searching, often I use Dicta and stuff like that. I know that Dicta uses Sefaria within their site. It doesn't work the opposite way, does it? Am I correct? The Sefaria doesn't really use Dicta inside.
Well, we
to
work with
search for a
Dicta. We actually get some of our, we work very closely with Dicta, but I'm not sure I'm understanding what you mean about.
I'm looking for how many times the word Zikaron appears in Tanakh.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can show you that I would take, actually, I'd like to take source sheet questions first. That's a whole other thing, but I'm happy to do it after, but let me take Rabbi Perkins. Hello.
Hi. Hi. So I've got a question. When I've used with the previous editor, when I've used a sheet on a Zoom call, on a Talmud class conducted on Zoom, and I mistakenly click on the page, suddenly it shifts to the left because it opens up the commentary and I guess the resource panel or whatever in the old reader. Does that happen in this reader?
Well, let me share my screen and we're going to do it. Okay. So you're seeing my test sheet, right?
Right.
Okay. So let's see of what we're talking about. So you're saying if I click on, if I click on the source, it's going to open in the resource panel. Yes.
But that means the whole sheet will shift over to the left. And that doesn't seem to have happened just now.
It
But,
does not seem to have happened just now.
That's wonderful.
No, it's if I click on the heading on the site.
Aha.
If I click on the actual text, it will not. But if I click, because these are hyperlinked, all of our texts, they always were, they still are. If you click on because we want people to be able, like, let's say you put just a tiny bit of text on
Right.
it, but someone wants to go deeper, we want them to be connected to the library. And so it will do that. Yes.
Got it. So any way to avoid that if you're teaching a class and you don't want, would that mean it's preferable to go to a Google Doc, for example? So it's
I would
less.
say just don't click on the citation.
Okay, so that's already an advancement because in the previous one, even if you'd click on the text itself, that would happen.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, just try not to click on
Right.
the citation and you'll see that's what's hyperlinked.
Got it. All right.
Also, if you click on the name of a rabbi, because those are also hyperlinked.
Well, rabbis are very hyper, so that's.
Yeah, well, because we hyperlink to their bios, which is really great. I mean, it's nice if you want to do that. You know, it's nice, especially if you're teaching. I don't think I have any
Right.
Gemara on here, but like if you're teaching something and you're teaching a Mishnah and you want to
Mhm.
teach your. I know I was always taught to like look up who that rabbi was, and you had to go get the book. Now
Right.
you don't have to do that.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks.
Rachel, may I ask a quick question?
Sure.
What about inserting a page or two of a PDF? I'm not talking about a linked
Yeah,
PDF
no,
on the web. I'm
no.
talking about.
I mean, you have to copy and paste. You're not going to be able to put the whole PDF. You can just copy and paste the text and put it in.
Yeah, but you could make it into a picture also.
Oh, you could also make it into a picture. That's a good point. Thank you.
Well, that won't be OCR. Won't be
No, it
search.
would be a picture of your. You take a screenshot.
Well, that's a thought for your developers. Thank you.
If I have a screenshot, it'll paste in. I could paste anything.
Yeah,
in
so a
there?
screenshot. So like that's basically what I did with this this picture. Well, that wasn't a screenshot, but yeah, I could. It's the same thing. If I had a screenshot, and then you click and you. Oh my goodness! There we go. You click and you do the middle one, and this would be if I had a screenshot, it would be on my. I mean, some of these actually are screenshots, but you don't really need to see my vaccination.
And what if I had a screenshot that's just in my, what's it called, in my, I could just paste it. I do a screenshot using some kind of screenshot program. And I just Control V, it'll paste it or not?
Rabbi, I understand and I appreciate what I'd like to emphasize, Rachel, and Lauren, is that screenshots are not optically character recognized, so they're not searchable. So they're
Right.
they
Absolutely. So the answer was, and same thing with the PDF though.
no.
Folks,
PDFs
folks,
totally-
I want to, I just want to, if I can for a second,
Thank you.
I know that David just has his hand raised and I want to honor that. I guess that they found a bug perhaps in the Zoom, call with
Yeah,
Sandra and others.
So we were just playing, as for the screenshots, Rabbi Benji, a screenshot is just a picture. It's just an image. That's all it is. And so you would just bring it in like any other image. And yeah, it's not, I mean, it could be searchable hypothetically if you use the right. So we found a couple, we're not sure if they're bugs or not, but Sandra and I were just playing. So the first is that when you have Hebrew in the English translation, like Yud Ke Vav Ke, it and Lauren mentioned to me that you all already know about this,
Yes.
that it takes it out of, it's not in the right place, and that's actually true no matter what the view is. So it has it over here also. But here's the other interesting thing. So in the old editor, if I had my view, we're still stuck on this, side by side versus top bottom view. If I had my view like this, and then I exported to Google Drive, it would keep my view side by side. But now it takes, no matter what my view is, it always puts it top bottom.
Okay, we're gonna test that.
When I export to, and I'm also getting some
I'm exporting
weird characters, but
as we speak. I'm exporting. And again, okay, so I'm going to open it. We'll see. Drum roll.
You don't see your screen.
There it is. Oh, look at that. It's side by side, but it had problems with my Hebrew.
so I also had the Hebrew problems, but how did you get side by side? Because that's not working.
I
for
just
me.
exported it. It did export it side by side. I just exported to Google. And I
This is
have it.
helpful. I don't know if we're going to identify why this is happening. It could be something in your Gmail settings, your computer settings, but this is something that we would definitely send to our engineers, and they would
Yeah,
probably be able to
For
play
sure.
with.
wait, I just
Please
wanna
write
point
to
out-
me at hello@sefaria.org, and then I can.
But
I'll get
Rachel,
it
I just
to-
want to point out that on your source sheet, your texts are top bottom.
I did
but they
notice that
exported
just
right
now.
left.
I saw that too.
Mine are right left, and they're exporting
No,
top
but when I
bottom.
exported it, it was side by side. When I
Oh,
exported it, I
okay,
don't know when I
okay.
came back why it was
Okay.
why it was stacked. I don't know. I did notice that. I was hoping you wouldn't, but I did. But write to us about it, because I don't want to play with it right here. But if you write to us, I'll play with it. I'll see the problem. I'll send it to the engineers. Not everything gets handled right away. We have to, figure out what needs to be handled right away. So, but they will see it. We're in contact all the time. So we love to hear. We know that you and Sandra are really, really big Sefaria sheet users, and we love all that you've done of giving us feedback all through this process. So I appreciate it. We really appreciate it a lot. If that's the end of the sheet questions, I will take that search question. What do you think, Lauren?
Sure.
Okay, so I forgot what you wanted to, so you wanted to search for something. And
No, I know how to search in Dicta. That's not my issue.
No,
My
I want
question
to show
is-
you how to search in Sefaria.
That's what I want to know. Okay.
There you go. What did you want to search?
I don't know, let's say
Zikaron.
the
Zikaron.
word Zikaron.
Zikaron. Okay, so here's my search bar up on the top. I'm going to click on
Are
it.
you
I'm
sharing
gonna-
your screen? Oh, I'm sorry.
I am.
Sorry.
Aren't I sharing
My
my screen?
mistake.
Okay,
My mistake.
so I'm going to change to Hebrew. I'm going to do Zikaron. And this is the key. I'm not going to, the one with the hashtag is going to be the topics page. That's not what you want in this case. You want the bottom option with Zikaron in quotation marks. And I'm going to click on that. And now it shows me 10,631 places that Zikaron appears in sources, 62 in sheets. And it gives me on the side, it gives me filters. So let's say I want to know how many times does Zikaron appear in Talmud. So I can either click on the box or do the down arrow. And now I have every Masechet that it appears in. And I want to say that I'd like to see,
Great.
well, look at that. Surprise, surprise, Rosh Hashanah has it a lot. I can click on, I'm not going to click on Rosh Hashanah, it's going to be too big. I'm going to click on Shabbat, and let's say I'd also like Brachot, and it will filter it for me. And now I see Brachot, I see Shabbat,
Great.
and then I can
Great.
click on any of them. So you can do, and then you can unclick if you want to unclick that, so they all go back to zero, to the beginning. So you can do all of your searching that way. So the key is, again, and you can do Hebrew or English. You can do an exact search or not. You can, you do it up here in the search bar, but you pick the bottom option with the word in quotation marks.
Rachel,
Yes.
you looked for Zikaron with the yud, and it found an example without the yud. So
Right.
which is preferable, to add the yud, not to add the yud? What's the story when you're not sure?
Up to you, but then I did not click exact matches only. Let's see
Ah.
what happens when I click exact matches
Well,
only.
you lose that that
Let's see if we
first
do.
example. Yeah.
Oh, but no, but I didn't. It's here. So it's not perfect. I would not use this as an authoritative concordance, but yeah, so it didn't. Sometimes the exact matches is just like if you're doing a phrase, it will take out some things. I don't know, but I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for.
Mhm.
You know, if you're really looking for the exact,
But if you're looking
word.
if you're not looking for the exact spelling, because you're not sure how it's spelled in the text, what would be preferable?
Use the shorish or not use the shorish?
In other
I
words,
think you're
just
gonna have to
use
play
like,
with it and figure it out.
do you
I don't
have
think I
the,
have a definitive answer.
okay, is there capacity to use an asterisk in place of
We
a
don't
letter?
have like, what's it called, like Boolean search. We don't have
Got it.
that.
Okay.
But you do have these filters, and sometimes people don't find them because they're clicking something else, but you have to click that bottom one, and then you can play around with the filters.
Got it. Mitsuyan.
And also the Sefaria 101 webinar will do that. More search would be in the deep dive webinar. If you want to come back another time, you guys are great. So if you want to come back for one of the others, we have that on the sheet.
Thank
so
you.
can sign up.
Thank you. I've become the child who doesn't know how to ask at this point. So thank you very much.
Well, you guys are all so kind, and it's fun. I love hearing the questions. I didn't have too many glitches. I'm on an old computer that I'm going to be switching soon, but I was afraid to go to the new one on a webinar. So, so we did, I think, pretty well. So I really appreciate it. If you have follow-up questions, please write to us at hello@sefaria.org. We'll get to them as soon as we can. It's good to see some of your faces. Some of you I know from writing in. I'm looking at Sandra, but there are others as well.
Thank you so much.
So thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Lauren.
Thanks. Bye.